Welcome to That 80s Show, and Paulo's thinking about the finger. Think about the finger, dink van die vinger. It's all happening here at 80s Show HQ. Hello, Dori.
Hello, Paulo. Wow, talk about an inside joke.
Indeed. You don't want to know what that is about. This is the 1980s show. That didn't sound good.
There are others. There are others.
Oh no, and I think I've lost you to the dark side. We'll be talking a little bit about that, Dori. I'm feel jilted.
Don't be jilted.
Feel jilted.
You know, there's a thing about sharing is caring, and you know not everyone can have the one thing. There's variety in life.
I understand we're not the only podcast, the only 80s podcast.
Yeah.
I feel we're one of the better ones.
Oh, for sure.
But, Dori, we'll talk about it later. But I got that 80 Show's lawyers on it. I got Corbin Burnson, he's on it.
Uh-huh.
We got our date at Night Court. We're going to Night Court.
Nice crossover.
We're taking them to Night Court.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I feel my content has been lifted. I tell you what's very interesting these days. Let's talk about a little bit of an internet thing, there was internet in the 1980s, but it's around a little bit more now. You may have noticed. You know, there's quite a lot of internet around.
Yes.
You can always see what your wife and daughter are looking for Christmas by the ads that get served to you.
Oh.
Because you're all on the same network. So they go, oh well.
Spoiler alert.
So I can see what they're looking for Christmas. Going on a summer holiday, I can see people looking for costumes, bathing suits, new shoes. Because that is what I'm being suggested. This is That 80s Show. Thank you for listening. We value every single listen. Dori, people from the 80s get grumpy. We know this.
Well, yes.
We're from yeah. Oh. Things are noisy. Pencils make too much noise, apparently. You may know of our friend Barrett Edelstein, the celeb savant. We haven't done chart savant for a while.
No, we haven't, because he's too busy celeb savanting.
No, but he's always got to make time for us. Mm-hmm. I know he's like out with Drickus, and I know he's going to movie premieres and he's going to awards ceremonies. But like when we call, he's got to come.
Okay, well, I'll make the call.
Like the littlest hobo. You know when they call him?
Yes.
And then he comes. No, I'm calling him a hobo or a dog. Is it not the littlest displaced canine?
Wait, the littlest unhomed canine.
Okay. But
well, I just want to share the fact that we both received a message from
Yes,
Barrett
thank you.
this weekend saying, I'm about to interview Drickus du Plessis. I have no idea who he is. How hard did you laugh?
I mean, Dori, you were showing me some WhatsApp messages before this. I will laugh later when the shock dissipates. But I was like, Barrett, you interview the most random people.
Yeah.
Like, he interviews massive names, but then also, like, it's a trade-off. So he likes to keep relationships open. He's like, I'll interview. Bring me somebody, I'll find an angle.
Yes, somebody who is known in one town in Australia.
Basically,
yes, I'll
right?
interview them.
And I was like, okay, and I get it. And I also understand not everyone knows every sport and whatever. But when a South African becomes a world champion in anything, we know about him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Barrett does not know who Drickus is. He can even go by his first name, Drickus.
Absolutely.
Like, he doesn't even need a surname. You just say Drickus. Oh, that guy.
You see, okay, so Barrett doesn't follow news. He doesn't read news things. He doesn't listen to, he doesn't watch that kind of TV or listen to that kind of radio. Think about it. He doesn't read that kind of, for example, if you are following news, he would be following entertainment news.
And predominantly Kylie Minogue.
Yes. So he certainly wouldn't be following sports news.
Oh, no, hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially a sport like EFC.
Right.
That's is that even a sport? It's just a bunch of brutes, some may say. And then another message he sent us is that he doesn't like using pencils because they make too much noise.
Yeah.
So these are our friends. These are our friends. We'll make them your friends.
And we love them.
And
we love our friends.
These are the friends that stop us being grumpy because, old grumpy. Dori, I'm going to read you an article and about a grumpy old man, but I 100% support what he says.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to try guess which 80s pop legend this is.
Okay.
He's part of a group. So this group was inducted the inaugural Pop Pioneers Award at the MTV European Music Awards. Now, I know you don't... That won't even give a spoiler to you. Because
no, not at all.
What do we even know about it? MTV European... Right? I know Tyler was part of it. I saw everyone getting excited because Tyler was there.
Okay, so this isn't necessarily a European group.
They're European. So that's a clue. Okay. Ooh. Okay, anyway. They're very grumpy. So they win an award for their contribution to the world of pop music, including the groundbreaking sonic and visual spectacles they create for their fans. Okay? But then here's where they get grumpy. Okay? So they get inducted. They do a great mashup. I got to find this mashup. He slammed today's artists, saying current pop music is narcissistic and wasn't groundbreaking like it had been in the 80s. I agree.
Totally.
I agree. Goes on to say, I find pop difficult now. I don't like the sound of it. I am an electronic musician, so I know the sound, but it's so processed now, I find it all narcissistic, right? The classic period was Spandau Ballet, Culture Club, Tears for Fears, New Order, and the start of rap music. It is the last great period of people trying to push the idea of a pop song. A lot of people think the 90s is a golden era with Oasis and stuff, but it seemed at the time that in the 90s, people started rewriting the Beatles, for example, and looking back. In the 80s, something exciting used to happen, but that stopped and fizzled out. Now, he's right.
Oh, yeah.
Because the 80s, they were trying everything. They had everything.
And there were
was
new
being
instruments, remember? Remember the guitar?
Oh, my God. Remember the guitar tie? You know, all these things were happening. And do you think it's because of us being so into 80s, but do we hear more 80s music than we hear even 2000s music? Because like the 80s has just got a soul to it. There's just like when you watch TV shows, more 80s songs pop up than 2000 songs.
Yeah. And I'm really I feel a little bit vindicated because I remember when I was a kid and my dad was going on about how classic music from the 60s was.
Yeah.
And it was the 80s when we had this discussion. And I was like, but so is music from the 80s. And he went, no, the 80s won't be like the 60s.
Wow.
And he was right. They're better.
They're better.
They are better.
So grumpy.
Okay.
Carries on.
Yeah, let's hear more.
Hits out of today's pop. You can go to boot camp now to write songs. You don't get the miracle melodic development like David Bowie. Then he climbs into Taylor Swift.
I'm here for that.
He takes on the Swifties. This is my complaint, okay? He spoke about Taylor Swift, who's got a penchant for writing lyrics inspired by her relationships. This is my complaint, writing about self. It's the only subject now. He questioned her talent. He said, because what does she have? She fascinates me as a sort of phenomenon because she's so popular. But I sort of like the whole thing. I kind of like what Taylor Swift is. But then I think, where are her famous songs, right? She's got Shake It Off, but is it really Billie Jean? Right? I listened to that the other day, and it's not Billie Jean. It's not.
Yeah.
Coming to the studio earlier, I was playing a mega mix.
So
Billie Jean was part of it.
I've been hearing a lot of Billie Jean lately because Quincy Jones died.
Yeah.
And he produced Billie Jean. And so and that was his biggest hit, apparently.
Yeah.
That was his biggest success. So I've been hearing Billie Jean on, the media. It has not dated.
No, it's fantastic.
It's still a great song.
Is Shake It Off going to be around in 40 years' time?
Hell no. God, I hope not.
Oh, God. So he's right.
Oh, yeah.
To have a successful pop career now, you have to have a series of relationships which are amazing and then break up tragically. I sometimes wonder what the other half of the relationship feels about this. People don't write songs like Karma Chameleon anymore.
What is Karma Chameleon about?
It's about this color changing, this chameleon who changes color depending on shit things that happen to people. So when people deserve something...
I've never actually thought about the lyrics of Karma Chameleon.
Oh, that could be a deep dive. We should go into that.
We should do that, yeah.
We should examine it line by line. So that he's just gone two-footed on Taylor Swift. We're here for it. I agree. All she ever does is have relationships, break up, write songs about it, shit on people. It's like, cool, that's once or twice, but not many.
But she's been with the same dude for a while now.
For a while. She's
this NFL guy.
Has she got a new album? She got to be working on a new album. I wouldn't get too comfortable if I was him. We've seen it before.
If I was him and he wants to keep taking advantage of the wealth, he should let her, play on the side a bit.
Okay, look, granted, she is billionaire, but he's NFL. He's not.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not struggling.
He'll be okay. She's never going to write a Karma Chameleon. Weird song to compare to.
It is a bit of a weird song.
I would say like Careless Whisper.
Of course.
Lost Christmas. Maybe one of those. But I'm going to give you who is the 80s icon. Part of the iconic 80s duo. I'll say it's a duo.
Okay.
Who shat all over Taylor Swift, reminding you that they're inaugural pop pioneers in the MTV European Music Awards.
You see, you really threw me off with the fact that they're European.
Well, they're technically no longer European.
Okay.
They are British.
So they're British. Okay. Is it someone from Tears for Fears?
They mentioned Tears for Fears.
Oh, they mentioned Tears for Fears. Okay.
Electronic. He's an electronic musician. He mentioned Tears for Fears. Just some of the bands they mentioned. Spandau Ballet. So you got to eliminate them. Tears for Fears. You eliminate them. New Order. Culture Club.
Yo.
Duo. Electronic duo.
Electronic duo. It's not Yazoo.
Your favorite, Dori?
My favorite.
One of your favorites.
Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys.
Is this Neil Tennant being a grumpy old man?
Being a fantastically grumpy old man.
Has he ever not been a grumpy old man?
Yeah, but now he's really grumpy. He's going, you know what? We're fucking icons now. And I'm going to shit all over Taylor Swift and new musicians.
Love you, Neil.
See?
I'm here for it.
So we agree?
I'm sure Chris feels the same as well.
Oh, no, he definitely does. Who would know?
Yeah.
Neil tells Chris how to feel. Hey? Have you ever heard Chris talk?
No.
No. Neil tells him.
But I think that Chris is actually the one behind the band.
Hey.
He's the genius.
I doubt it, but nice thing to think. Mention George Michael posthumously. Is that a word?
Posthumously.
Number one. I feel he does that a lot. I feel he's often getting songs back into number one. Careless Whisper on the physical
40th anniversary.
They released an LP, and how's this chart? It's the physical sales. He's top of the physical sales chart. So
because they brought out a vinyl. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, so he's top of the... No streaming.
No,
we don't need streaming.
No.
Let's buy physical. Olivia Newton-John said it best. Let's get physical. Okay? Now, Dori, you and I know quite a lot about 80s Scandal. We know about George Michael's Love Life. We've listened to all the podcasts, watched all the documentaries, read the books. If it says George Michael on it, I'm into it. I wanted to mention something to you. Derry Girls. You said you never watched it.
I tried because it was recommended by someone. I didn't get into it, no.
Okay, so that's kind of the thing, right? Every list you read, Derry Girls, gotta watch it. One of the best comedy, gotta watch it. So I've never got around to it. Okay, so I do settle down to watch it. I got to tell you, it's fantastic, right?
Really?
Now, as more 90s kids, so the kids in it, so it's set in the 90s. The kids are exactly the same age I was then, right? So it runs from basically like 94-ish to 98.
Okay.
The characters are 95 to 98. So the characters are 15 to 18. So that's exactly the same age I was.
Right.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's like a who's who of music we're listening to in the 90s. Okay? Some 80s thrown in there. But I mean, Cranberries. So many bands. Bewitched. All the Venga Boys. It's just the most fantastic soundtrack.
So I should give it another shot?
Very funny characters. There's a nun. The girls own a private school. There is a nun called Sister George Michael.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Listen, if you don't want it spoiled, block your ears right now.
I don't mind.
3, 2, 1. She drives a DeLorean.
Okay, I'm going to give the show another shot.
You got it. It is so funny. Sister George Michael is a killer. She's absolutely different level funny. The soundtrack is like 90s. The kids are doing the shit we try to get away with in the 90s. It's just funny. It's just really good. But that's an aside. I thought it's a George Michael mention. This is Wham Corner that we're in. So we know a lot about George Michael. We know what he's always up to. I think there's very little that would surprise me, except for this headline. George Michael had a secret fling with Madonna's younger brother.
Huh?
Exactly, Dori. I had never seen or heard of the story before.
I didn't even know Madonna had a younger brother.
Oh, well, she did. So, do you remember? And I actually went to go. I was like, this actually did really happen. The MTV Awards, mentioned it earlier, MTV Awards. Madonna kissed George at the MTV Awards.
Okay.
Right? And she said she was crazy about him. She loved him. She had, well, Madonna loved him. But
Yes.
she had a thing for George Michael at the time. You got to wonder, Madonna is a gay icon. You would have wondered if she knew, if she suspected. I don't think it bothered Madonna. I think Madonna's quite fluid.
No. Yes.
You know, so maybe she
Madonna
knew.
has also, if I remember correctly, her quote was, "I am a gay man trapped in a woman's body," if I remember.
Yeah.
That is one of her quotes.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm
Yes.
saying, it's not even. I think she would have known. I mean, she's icon. She went like, her gaydar must be ridiculous, right? And so she snogged him, but it's not who George Michael had affections for. He was more interested in her brother. Okay, now Madonna had a brother, Christopher Ciccone, who was an artist and designer. And they had a bit of a fling, and Christopher was very happy to tell everyone about it.
When?
In late, kind of like mid-90s.
So why am I only hearing about this now?
I know. I call shenanigans on it, Dori.
Is there a picture of Chris?
There is a picture of Chris. I'm going to switch we're going to put this up, that 80 Show SA Facebook page. And that is Madonna's brother.
Okay.
This is corroborated by one line. I don't know, Dori. I call shenanigans.
Maybe we can ask Barrett to get hold of Chris.
He's dead.
Oh.
Yeah, he died.
What happened?
He cancer.
Oh, no.
No, he passed away. So he took the secret to the grave. Madonna's not going to tell us.
No.
Madonna will not tell anybody in the world that George Michael, let alone any man, but George Michael rejected her for her brother.
Yeah.
She's going to let anyone know that. Madonna's not telling anyone shit. So what's our opinion there? I'm calling shenanigans. I don't believe it.
Huh. I mean, they're both gone. Nobody knows. Can verify this.
Do you think, like, I wonder. Do you think he knew she was Madonna's brother? Do you think, because I imagine they would be hanging out at the same things. Madonna was there, George Michael was there, Madonna would bring her brother with.
I reckon that was a known thing.
They could have just like maybe hooked up and that was like a once-off thing. They weren't in a relationship. He didn't like him. He was just like, well.
Or like you say, Madonna had good gaydar. She knew that George was gay. Obviously, her brother was gay. And she was like, I think you guys would get along, and introduce them and just let it happen.
See, just when I'm unsure about Madonna, you paint that hypothetical. I'm like, yeah, well, nice one, Madonna. I call shenanigans. I don't believe it.
Well,
it was
we'll
a
never
fling.
know.
I don't believe it was a relationship, and we will never know. I mean, why has that story taken the best part of 30 years to come out? I'll ask you. I'll ask you. So now, listen, Flash Gordon.
Yes.
Loved it. Well done. Remember when there was the, what was the hair? The shampoo. What's it called? The hair.
Oh.
The hair soap. The shampoo.
It's soap.
I'm bald as shit. I don't use hair soap. The shampoo ad they were in Splash. Aha.
Oh, yes.
I remember that. That was hilarious back in the 80s or 90s. Flash Gordon loved it. There's a remake coming. They announced a remake a couple of years ago. It's been iced, but it's back on the table. Why have hopes? Taika Waititi's involved.
Oh, okay.
I think he's great. I think he will.
Oh, he is.
He will so lean into it.
Who will be Flash Gordon?
Dolph Lundgren.
No, he won't. He will not.
Listen, Flash Gordon, the mind boggles. Probably find some unknown. Maybe Chris Hemsworth.
No.
He loves Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, but no.
Okay.
No.
I'm like all about
Zero Hemsworths in this movie, please.
The Hemsworths, they were so hot at one stage. Now they're kind of like, when last did you see a Hemsworth?
No. Like, who would be the new Flash Gordon?
They're probably going to put that Timmy Lama child at him.
No.
I reckon they're going to put an unknown.
Maybe an unknown.
But they're going to get a huge name for Ming.
Because wasn't Sam Jones unknown at the time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get a huge name for Ming the Merciless. Tim Curry.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
Tim Curry as Ming the Merciless.
You know who else could be Ming the Merciless?
Hugh Grant.
Well, no. Patrick Stewart.
Well, Dori, I'm glad you bring up Patrick Stewart right now because I had a look. I got a addition to make.
Yes.
Last week, recommend the fantastic movie Life Force.
Yes.
Okay, where pretty much every recommendation was about the nudity. Every review and alien honkers, I think, was the phrase very, very eloquently used. I forgot to mention in the absolute batshit absurdity of that movie that Patrick Stewart was in it.
Amazing.
Right? And let me tell you. Patrick Stewart has always been old. In this movie, Patrick Stewart is 44 years old. Right? I'm 44.
Right.
I got told I look good for my age.
Yes.
Which is the most damned with faint praise you can get. It is. You look good for your age. It's like, oh, you don't look that. Yeah, anyway. But I do not look Patrick Stewart 44. Patrick Stewart at 44 looked like he is 64. Yet Patrick Stewart now looks like he's 44.
Yes.
Because he's just...
And he's what, like 94? Well, no, I don't know.
I actually checked. He's 70-ish.
Okay.
Anyway. So he's always been old. He's just a guy always been old. And not just because he's been bald. He's just always been old.
Yeah.
Right? And always old. And what happens to his character, so in Life Force, the space vampires could transfer their life force into people and kind of take control of their bodies.
Right.
And the main character, who kind of has a bit of a thing for the space alien with the alien honkers, he now realizes that she's in Patrick Stewart's body.
Right.
And they kiss, Dori. They have a very romantic, emotional kiss. In the 80s.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe that. I forgot to mention that.
Inconceivable.
That's how crazy that movie was. So Patrick Stewart, good shout as Ming the Merciless. Tim Curry, Hugh Grant. Huh?
I think Tim Curry or Patrick Stewart. I don't see Hugh Grant. No.
Listen, we're talking Taika Waititi. He's going to make shit crazy. Taika Waititi played Hitler in Jojo Rabbit.
Yes, I know.
Maybe he's going to play Ming the Merciless.
Oh, that would actually be good.
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, we're
done.
Okay.
Right.
So now we're excited for the Flash. And they got to bring the song back.
Oh.
No, they
not
got...
like remake.
No.
Yes.
The remaining members of Queen.
Yes.
Fronted by... who could be the front man
Well,
for
who
it?
has done it? What's his face has done it?
Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert, yeah. I was going to say Adam Levine, but wrong Adam.
You know what they're going to do? Remember they found the Beatles song of the lost tapes, and they're going to bring back Freddie Mercury.
Honestly, just use the original Flash Gordon. That song has not dated. It's perfect.
It's so perfect.
It's perfect.
It's so...
Don't mess with it.
You know what? I think you and I have made a better movie.
Yes.
Now we're just going to be disappointed by it.
I want to go and watch the original Flash Gordon right now.
Oh, shit, but like a shitty 80s version.
VHS.
Oh, Betamax.
Betamax.
Well, those did not hold quality. And not at all. Do you know that Betamax was only from one company? It wasn't a industry standard thing.
That's why it didn't last, right?
No, exactly. So VHS was kind of like VHS, and everybody, Panasonic, everyone made a VHS. I stand corrected, but Betamax was either from Sony or Sanyo.
Sony Betamax. Yeah,
Sony. It was their version of VHS. No one else made Betamax. I only found that out recently. It was only Sony Betamax.
Yeah.
Sony, they made a lot of bad... You see, they had so much money off the Walkman.
Yeah.
They did so much. They're like, we can do whatever we want. Betamax, it failed. It doesn't matter. We got Walkman. We can even make a disc, man.
And then they did.
They did. Oh, jeez. Listen, that's the company you got to buy stock in. Because they're too big to fail.
Maybe.
You got to think about it. Imagine buying Sony stock in the 80s. Fuck, jeez.
Where's our DeLorean?
We'd have Elon Musk money now.
Yeah.
You know, would be, what's his new position with Trump? The Minister of Efficiency. He's the head of Department of Efficiency.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's all happening. So enjoy the show because the world's going to end. So Dori,
Yes.
do you want to talk about your dalliance, your little journey outside of our relationship now, or are you going to save it for later?
But whenever you'd like to. Should we get it over with?
Do you have a movie, or is this
I
your...
do have a movie.
Okay, let's talk
well,
about
not a movie.
this.
I have a TV series,
Okay,
but I won't talk about it.
You guys are going to hear a live counseling session here because Dori is going to reveal something, and my reaction for the first time is going to be raw and authentic. This is like a real podcast.
Yeah, this is like Where Do We Begin with Esther Perel?
Yes.
Where it's like a marriage counseling session and it's recorded.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
And all the emotions are laid bare.
The recording light is on, and we're going to hear this.
Paulo, I have stepped out. I've listened to another 80s podcast that is not ours.
Fuck. And even worse, liked it.
I did like it.
Fuck. Now, listeners to the show, we know many of you are loyal fans. We understand you probably listen to other 80s shows. I doubt it, though, because everything's substandard once you hear us.
Yeah.
But Dori, the originator, the founder of the show, when I tell people the story of how this show came about, they love it.
Nothing's changed. We still have that.
Okay,
Nothing has changed.
Talk about this other show.
I discovered the show because...
We got a date in night court. Talk about the other show. I'll let the courts decide.
Let's talk about how I found this other show because I don't know if it's something you want to mention, the Podcast-a-thon. Are we going to be on the Podcast-a-thon?
We already registered. So listen, great initiative coming up in March, Podcast-a-thon.
Oh, is it
yes,
Podcast-a-thon? Sorry,
where
I add an A.
Yeah, it is a tricky thing. It doesn't roll off the tongue. It's even worse to type in. Oh, it's the whole thing. You'd think it has 2 T's. It's 1 T. It's all over the place. But anyway, great initiative. Where podcasts from around the world, you donate your podcast to a charity, and it'll happen in March. I've got a charity in mind, which we will reveal closer to the time. And it's a really great initiative, and you should support podcasts who are donating their podcast to this initiative. And you can find all the shows on Podcast-a-thon.org. I put that 80 show on there, and through that, Dori discovered this other show, which is not a African Podcast of the Year winner, is not a Hubhopper Best Entertainment Podcast in the World winner, is not a silver medalist in the South African Podcast Awards show, which I checked. Last I saw, they hadn't spoken to Thomas Anders or anybody from Spandau Ballet or anything like that. So, okay, the context, that's who you'll find them. Yeah.
Look, I don't know what their history or their context is. I just saw, I decided, let me see what other shows are involved in the Podcast-a-thon. And I went and their artwork caught my eye because it was very 80s, and the title of the show is 1980s Now.
Okay, yeah, no, great artwork. Did it win the gold for in the South African Podcast Awards for best cover art?
No.
Okay, so all right, that's fine. I just want to
pointing out that they may or may not have won cover artwork awards, but not that we know of.
But we have one, and
we have.
Okay, so that we know.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, next,
right.
Carry on.
So I thought. And I noticed that their latest episode in the title mentioned Jessica Rabbit, and we spoke about Jessica Rabbit last week.
Oh, so so they're stealing content. Okay.
I think it might just be a coincidence, but I might be wrong.
I got to tell you, so much of the content is the same because obviously they put the show together the same way we do.
Exactly.
Like what are the 80?
Google alert.
Right, because you go through it and it's like week by week we're almost covering the same stuff.
Right. So I thought, out of curiosity, I thought, let me hear how unfunny and inferior this show is to ours.
Did they speculate on what Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit's children would look like?
I was waiting for that, and they did not. Okay. They did not. However, they do have an interesting discussion. They speak about the Jessica Rabbit ride at Disney World, and it's kind of interesting. But the funniest part of the podcast is in the later part of the show. They get into alien abduction and anal probes, and it is very funny. Very funny. I confess, I did laugh out loud. Lesson
for me, more anal probing will keep Dori within this relationship.
Wow. That sentence with no context.
Coupled in with where we're putting our fingers is going to be a whole thing. I am a big believer if you can't beat them, join them. I reckon we should collab with them.
I agree.
Hey?
I think we should contact them. Their email addresses are even on their show description.
Okay, so I watch the Space crossover episode.
Maybe if they agree. I mean, they might just go, "Who are you guys?"
We're an award-winning podcast. We're one of the best podcasts on our continent. Let's see what happens. Dori likes anal probing. She'll stay loyal to that 80s show. That's great. Now, Dori, I think you felt guilty about saying that you're going to talk about that as your recommendation. It was
going to be my recommendation.
You went to go watch.
And then I was like, how can I recommend another podcast that does the same thing that we do?
I know.
Not as well. Like, what's the point of that?
Exactly.
So I changed my mind.
Okay.
And I instead went digging into my brain, into my memory of what did I watch as a child in the 80s.
Oh.
Now, this show is not life-changing, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It was kind of a unique concept, and yet, I suppose not. But did you ever watch a TV series called Adderley?
Ooh, can't say it rings a bell.
Okay, maybe if I show you the main star, it'll ring a bell. But let me just tell you. Let me give you the gist first. Yeah. Google while I'm doing...
Yes, I know the show.
Because he has
it.
fantastic hair.
I did watch this.
Of course you did.
He looks like a little bit like if Dudley Moore had a Michael Knight wig on.
He looks like if Michael Landon and Dudley Moore had a baby.
Michael Landon, good call.
Yes.
It's Michael Landon hair.
It is. But there's definitely some Dudley Moore in there.
It is there.
Yes. His name is Winston Rickert.
Yes.
He really didn't do much else other than this. He did do a series called Neon something. Neon Rider or something.
No, that's not
which we didn't see.
Neon Rider.
Do you know Neon Rider?
Oh, I like the sound of that. I think I may be investigating a show called Neon Rider.
It's not what you think.
No,
it's
no,
not porn.
No, I know, but it just, it's 1995. I can't recommend it.
No, you can't. You can't.
Bummer.
But he did do a series called Adderley, which ran from 1986 to 1988. We did have it on SABC3, I think.
Okay.
I did used to enjoy watching it. The basic story is he was this spy.
Okay.
Secret agent.
I knew he was because he had a trench coat.
Exactly.
No.
And a tan trench coat because it was the 80s. He worked for an organization known as ISI, which is dangerously close to ISIS, but this was the 80s.
Yeah.
International Security and Intelligence. And he was one of their top agents. But then an enemy agent crushes his left hand with a medieval mace during an interrogation in East Germany. Remember East Germany?
Oh, very bad.
East Germany was like
thank God for David Hasselhoff.
Thank goodness.
You know,
he brought the wall
He
down.
brought the wall down to unite because what they couldn't have gotten up to without the Hoff.
Yeah.
You know?
So then, of course, as an injured agent...
The enemy agent, Viktor Borinov.
Yes.
Oh, that's how I know he's bad.
Yeah.
He's got a V at the end of his name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he loses the use of his hand, and then they go, well, you can't be an agent in the field if you only have one hand.
Oh, true. Yeah. How are you going to applaud people?
I think it was more about defending yourself and using weapons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be that.
Which, by the way, he does manage to do in the series anyway.
Which hand did he lose? Left or right?
Left.
Left, okay.
But he might have been left-handed. We don't know.
Oh, he's left hand. Yeah.
We don't know. Anyway, so then they create... But the big boss doesn't want to lose him from the business. So they create something called the Department of Miscellaneous Affairs, which is literally these two officers in the basement of the building. And they give him these weird little cases to do, which always turn into something bigger. So for example, I watched the first episode of season 1.
Okay.
And he was hired to be security for a senator's daughter's wedding because they thought there might be a security risk because their chauffeur got mugged and killed.
Oh, that's
so they were like, oh,
so much to think of before a wedding, and now got that.
Now we've lost our chauffeur, and let's just get some extra security. Yeah. So they call in Adderley with his one hand. And he figures out that this chauffeur was not just a random mugging. There's much more to the story.
It was the senator.
No, he figures out that the guy who the daughter is marrying is a hitman.
Oh, my God.
He's a hitman. He killed the the chauffeur. You actually see that happening in the beginning of the episode. He killed the chauffeur, and his whole plot is to get in there to kill the senator.
Oh, my God.
So, of course, he has to foil this wedding. There's a bit of weird sexual tension between him and the daughter. He's definitely too old for her.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that, Joe.
Yeah, no, that was a bit weird, but 1980s.
Hey.
You know.
But what do you say? Don't yuck on other people's yums. I've used it twice this week.
You have. Yeah. Not judging. So this show has been described as a comedy. It's not a comedy.
It's got comedy, the Department of Miscellaneous Affairs.
Yeah.
You know, I so resonate with that because in my line of work, what I do, I've had the weirdest job titles because I've got these like weird set of skills that I know how to do things, but no actual jobs. So I keep getting like, I've always been the head of miscellaneous affairs. I should be
This is actually your official job title.
Yeah, head of, that's what I should be.
Yeah. I suppose, there's some funny banter between him and the secretary, or the receptionist, let's call her receptionist, who seems to always be flirting with him. But he does have great hair.
But like, I'm looking at pictures of him. We'll put a picture of him with that 80 show. So like, listen, everybody's got something for everybody, but you wouldn't put him up. If you're thinking at the time, in 1986 to 1988, I'm looking at Michael Knight, I'm looking at MacGyver, I'm looking at Tom Selleck,
Don Johnson.
Yeah,
he's not up there.
He's not
Michael
there.
Landon even.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, he's not up there.
Yeah.
He is the Wish version of Michael Landon. But it was an entertaining show. Entertaining.
Okay. And I assume, like all quality, it is on YouTube for us to view.
The entire thing is on YouTube. The entire 2 seasons. On
That's
YouTube.
good. Adderley, starring Winston Record. His other show called Neon Rider, disappointingly, is a psychologist named Michael Terry, who, after writing a successful book on adolescent psychology, purchases his childhood friend's family ranch to open a therapeutic residential treatment program for troubled and abused teens. What's got neon? I don't see neon. I imagined a bike.
I know.
That's like
so
feelings. That would even Dori, even the show title is like neon in neon and rider, but like
is
in
it
old
because
Western.
they ride horses? Maybe the reins are neon. And saddles, neon saddles.
Yeah, no.
Well, they were wearing neon clothes.
I feel like it's such a waste of a title.
No, I know. It's a great... it could be a good band name.
Yeah. So this is what's going to happen. We got Corbin. I got Corbin Burnson on retainer here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say to him, listen, can we get that name from them? Neon Rider, and do something better with it. Because I feel it's such a great name. It really is.
And it was wasted.
Could be like a range of 80s condoms. Could be it could be so many things.
Oh my God, yes. 80s condoms.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So many things. I'm going to say, Corbin.
Unicorn flavored.
Shit. The official condom of anal probing. This is where the show's gone. And Corbin, get that name back. Dori and I got at least 3 better uses for it just now. Just throwing ideas around.
Brainstorming.
Yeah, just look at that. And what did these guys do with it? Teens.
Ranch.
Come on. All right. So, my movie this week.
I want to see how far down the rabbit hole you've gone this week.
No, my movie's got big stars.
Oh, really?
Big stars. Mm-hmm. Big stars.
But still never heard of it, right?
People could have heard of it. It's quite funny. The star of this came off probably his 2 biggest, his biggest role and its sequel just before he got cast in his next biggest role. It's massive, massive.
Is it Michael J. Fox?
So, I want to read some of the reviews.
Okay.
One review said is moronically written and directed, so entirely without wit or novelty that there is plenty of time to wonder about its many missing explanations. This job has a dirty job to do and does it. This is not an endorsement. Thumbscrews and cattle prods are real good at what they do too. So thumbscrews are torture things. They just put your thumbs in and cattle prods. So just because it's good at what it does doesn't mean it's good. And this is one of those films that isn't a film, but some repulsively complicated business deal. Okay.
Wow.
It also kicks into my thing of going big people who should have known better.
Right.
And another one of my favorites, changed director halfway through.
Oh, love it.
You know you're getting something fantastic. So my movie is called Nighthawks,
Nighthawks.
starring as the villain in his first American movie, Rutger Hauer.
Cool.
He then goes on to Blade Runner straight after this.
So was he the one you were referring to beforehand? No.
Billy Dee Williams,
Okay.
who they originally wanted Richard Pryor to play this role, and the star of the movie and called the shadow director, Sylvester Stallone.
OMG.
So this is after the two Rockies, just
Okay.
before Rambo,
Okay.
and Sylvester Stallone's like, oh, I got to try. You're a big name. You're massive. It's also a movie that's so 70s, I can't believe it's not 70s. So Sylvester
What year was it?
1981.
Well, that explains why it's so 70s.
Yeah, super 70s. New York 70s. So Sylvester Stallone is a cop. Oh, Dori, I got to show you a photo of him and Billy Dee Williams. In this, we're going to post up all photos, reviews, everything, trailers, That 80 Show, Facebook.
That is Sylvester Stallone with some facial hair.
How, what's the dude?
That's so 70s.
Al Pacino, does he look?
He does look very Al Pacino.
Serpico? Hey, he looks super
Why
Al
is Billy
Pacino.
Dee Williams wearing a Superman shirt?
Oh, because Superman was so big at the time. Superman movie had just come out.
Okay.
That's why he wears it. But it's quite funny. It's a thing like that. He's a cool cop. Look at Billy Dee Williams. Got a Jerry curl. It's fucking fantastic. I mean, Dori, describe what Sylvester Stallone's looking like there. Just
He
looking
looks like a 70s pimp.
cool as shit. So he's a cop. They're cops. Him and Billy Dee Williams are cops. Sylvester Stallone got the most amazing beard. I
Very
mean, that
good
you can
beard.
see. Hair.
Tan leather jacket.
Oh, boots. His outfits are just a thing. That's not a New York cop salary, unless you're on the take. But his outfits are fantastic. So 70s. Like you say, looks like a pimp. And there are two cops. And Rutger Hauer escapes from East Germany.
Uh-huh.
They're
East
linked to our
Germany.
movies, yes.
Yes.
Comes to America. And now he wants to start doing terrorist acts around New York City. Right? Which, at the time, one of the movies why Sylvester Stallone feels the movie flopped is because people just didn't find that a realistic plot. They said terrorism doesn't happen in New York. You know, terrorism happens in other countries, which is quite weird for the time because, I mean,
Yeah.
subsequently you had the World Trade Center, you had the Twin Towers, or, you know.
Was that like factual at the time? That it really didn't?
People didn't think that something like that could happen in a city. Urban terrorism. They just didn't think that anybody could do that. So it just wasn't realistic, but it was actually quite ahead of its time in the thought. So he wants to destroy New York. He's just a terrorist. He decides I'm going to take down New York. What his motivation is, this is probably something that got lost in the different directors' cuts.
Right.
Okay. And now it's this race against time to stop him doing his big terrorist act.
I've never heard of this movie.
It's kind of like one of Sylvester Stallone's forgotten classics. What's interesting about it is we know Sylvester Stallone, he was Rocky, and then he was Rambo. And then he was kind of like, I'm an
then he was
action guy.
Cobra.
Then he was Cobra. But you see, there was a stage where he was actually, going back, people actually would call him a method actor on a similar career trajectory to Marlon Brando.
Alrighty.
That's how people were looking at Sylvester Stallone at the time.
Yeah.
And this was
Well, they do both mumble.
this was in the middle of that. But then the action hero stuff took over.
Yeah.
He made bank and he's like, oh, well, fuck it. This is just easier shit.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm just making
I
so
can
much
just
money.
carry on going to the gym because I enjoy going to the gym.
Exactly. This is not a movie like that. So it's very serious. It's more thriller because you think, oh, Sylvester Stallone, it's going to be action. It's really espionage-y, thriller. It was actually meant to be, you ever hear the movie French Connection? The French Connection?
Yes.
This was meant to be the third installment of that.
Okay.
But Gene Hackman didn't want to, he's like, I'm done with that character. So he's like, okay, Sylvester Stallone, do you want to do it? He goes, hey, I can print money right now. I'm Sylvester friggin' Stallone. It's the 1980s. Where's the Coke? Where's Brigitte Nielsen? You know, this is what I'm doing right now. So he took over the movie, main actor, the director. They didn't feel the first director was up to it. They brought in a second director who apparently was just a mouthpiece for Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone wasn't a registered director, so he technically couldn't direct the movie, but they say he was directing the movie, you know,
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Right.
He denies, he said, no, I never did it. But I think right now he could come out and say, yeah, I did that. I directed the movie. What are you going to do?
Who's going to fight him?
I'm friggin' Sylvester Stallone. So it's weird movie. They had the $6 billion woman in it who was meant to be the main female lead. and then they just cut her down into like little brief cameos. Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer didn't like each other on set.
Oh.
Completely
Well,
fell
that
out.
probably worked because they weren't supposed to like each other in
Exactly,
the movie.
that was the thing. So, listen, it is a very interesting movie to kind of watch as an observation piece. It's a movie that's so good, it's bad.
So bad it's good?
It's both. It's both, you know? It's ambidextrous, unlike Adderley. But here's the thing, right? Sylvester Stallone plays, he's obviously this hardened cop. He's like the best cop in the New York Police Department. I mean, we're talking about like, you know, New York at this time, the movie set in is kind of like present day Joburg. It's just falling apart. Crumbling.
Right, yeah.
Crime ridden, everyone's corrupt, everything's just broken. That's the New York we're in.
Right.
We're not in like today's gentrified New York. No. Mm-mm. So remember, we're in that New York. And he's just the cop. He just gets shit done. But he gets it often done because twice in this movie to catch a perp, he even catches Rutger Hauer this way, he disguises himself as a woman.
What?
Now, you saw that beard.
What's that beard?
So he catches a guy who's like a serial mugger, but he disguising himself as a woman, and he's like walking like a little old lady, and the guy tries to mug him. It turns around and says, oh, shit. It's an Italian nonna. No, it's Sylvester Stallone. Look at that beard. And then he catches Rutger Hauer out by the same disguise. Rutger Hauer
Okay,
thinks,
I wasn't going to watch this movie, but now I'm interested.
I'll post up these two scenes in particular. Why did Sylvester Stallone want to dress it? Why did he think that?
That's so weird.
And
Well, obviously because to, you know, lull them into a false sense of security. I don't know.
But the beard, Dori.
Yes, the
You
beard.
saw that beard.
And what does Billy Dee Williams do in this movie?
Do you know, so the thing is, they actually wanted to cast Richard Pryor in the movie.
Yes.
Now, at the time, Richard Pryor was actually trying to do some serious movies.
Oh,
But
I thought
again-
you were going to say he was doing so many drugs.
Well,
Couldn't
listen,
do anything.
Okay. Somebody said Richard Pryor was trying to do serious movies.
Okay.
Again, probably went, it's so much easier to do Brewster's Millions. It's so much easier to do stuff with Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Like, why? Okay. And Billy Dee Williams. An absolute waste, because Billy Dee Williams is phenomenal, cool as shit, got a Superman t-shirt, leather jacket over. But again, through all the cuts, he's just a guy who randomly appears.
Is he like the token black guy in the movie?
You know what? He's edited that way, but you can tell his character's more important than that. So, and one of the things, they keep re-releasing this movie, but no one's got the full director's cut, of which Sylvester Stallone says, no, my movie, it goes almost 3 hours, but that's the version you want to see. But it's like no one has ever found and been destroyed.
Would you watch all 3 hours?
No. Well, listen, if an hour is dedicated to Sylvester Stallone catching perps dressed as a lady, I will. Like, I am going to. I'm going to watch it. But I want to see, because
Sounds funny.
Billy Dee Williams is absolutely wasted in this. Because he's so
What a
good.
shame.
He's so good. So that is my movie, Nighthawks. As a completist, Sylvester Stallone completist, you might want to watch it.
Yes.
And then Dori's movie called
No, it's a TV series called
TV
Adderley.
series. Adderley. I'm going to stick on a television just for a second, because I find I loved Saturday morning cartoons. They were just my best. Never watched them on Saturday morning. That's a weird thing in South Africa.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Watch Saturday morning cartoons during the week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was similar. I don't know. But I found an article from Collider.com, excuse me. The 10 most forgotten 80s Saturday morning cartoons. Right? Read through some of these. Hulk Hogan was so huge in the 80s. I remember this. He had a cartoon series called Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I definitely want to watch that.
where he used wrestling to beat the shit out of people in cartoon format. They were always foiling schemes. Remember the Get Along Gang?
That sounds familiar.
Get along, gang. Get along,
Yeah.
gang. There was like a gang of animal children, a sheep, a cat, a moose, a little dog, a beaver, and a raccoon. I think that's a raccoon. They lived on a train.
That actually really does sound
Yeah.
familiar. I might have watched that.
Their clubhouse was a caboose of a train, I think. Yeah. Cute show. Like that show. Snorks. Oh, I hate the Snorks.
Oh, no.
Shit Smurfs. Shit underwater Smurfs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't like a Snork. Pac-Man had a cartoon series.
Really?
Yeah, and you go, what was the Pac-Man cartoon series about? Well, firstly, they had to give him and Mrs. Pac-Man legs and arms, because they can't be
Yeah.
like rolling around fucking Pac-Mans.
Unless they bounced. They could have bounced.
Oh, they could have bounced, but imagine the animation in bouncing.
Yeah.
That would have been a nightmare. So what was it about? Nothing really. A little bit like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, that the ghosts would always be trying to capture Pac-Man, and then he would always be escaping from them. Yeah. This show was weird. I remember the show for the toys, a show called Dino-Riders.
Yes.
Right? So it was like
Yes.
some weird planet where dinosaurs and humans coexisted, and then the humans used the dinosaurs, like put like weapons on them, guns, and they fought battles.
Who thought of that?
Richard Pryor. I'll tell you. Listen, let me tell you about Dino-Riders. This is so weird because this is the exact thing. It's a 14-episode series that only existed to sell toys, because I remember the toys were ridiculous. I remember the richest kid in my school in grade 1 or 2. Okay, he was super rich.
Yeah.
He invited the whole class to his birthday party. I couldn't go. I don't know why I didn't go. Monday morning, I get to school.
You've told the story.
He gave
before.
every kid Dino-Riders.
Oh, and you were left out.
I was like,
This has scarred you for your whole life.
I had no riders. I had fuck all riders.
Yeah.
And all the kids had Dino-Riders. And they're like, Dino-Riders playing in the sand. And there's me just, I don't have.
Dino-Riderless.
So I actually hate Dino-Riders for that reason.
Okay, fair enough.
There was another, this always causes confusion. There was a cartoon series called The Ghostbusters, but wasn't based on the movie The Ghostbusters. This was called the Filmation Ghostbusters. Confusing, right?
That's ridiculous.
Because the story goes back on is that there was a show like in the 40s or 50s called The Ghostbusters, right?
Oh, okay.
Which-
The Ghostbusters.
Yeah, which was the premise of these guys, they go catching ghosts. And then when Dan Aykroyd and them wrote Ghostbusters, it wasn't based on that. They just used the name. But different
Okay.
characters and everything.
Yeah.
And then you had two people with the same property going, no, well, we own this, like Neon Rider. We don't want to get into that situation.
Yeah.
So there was another one. There was a monkey. It was just Ghostbusters. It wasn't the same as Ghostbusters.
It was
And
the TV version of Ghostbusters.
Well, this was the original version of Ghostbusters, and it was sort of Filmation Ghostbusters. It was still good. I did like the show, though.
Okay.
I remember they had.
I definitely didn't see
I
that.
remember they released a sticker book. Even I had the sticker book.
Oh, man, sticker books. Sticker books. You used to buy them at the garage,
Yeah.
and then you would. How did you get the stickers? You had to like.
No, you could
Do
buy them.
stuff.
You could buy
had to
them.
buy them.
So what they do is like kind of like every big series at the time, you'd have a sticker book.
Yes.
I remember.
I remember
I still
something
got the
with wild
Thundercat
animals.
stickers.
I remember wild animals somehow.
Yeah, and you'd get them, and they'd all be based on scenes or like stories in your show.
And that was exciting.
Yeah, and you'd like put them all, or you'd collect them, and your mom would go and she'd buy you stickers for like 50 cents if you're good. And then there were special stickers, some were clear. There was always like a
they
middle
always came in
page.
these wrap things, and you didn't know if you were going to get duplicates,
Yeah.
and then you had to swap
Swap them.
them at school.
And then kids would go, no, we're not swapping, we're playing Dino-Riders.
oh,
Take your fucking,
sad.
take your stickers up your ass. We've got Dino-Riders.
again with the ass probing. Again.
I would put that in the show title, but I do not want to be kicked off any of the platforms where you find this podcast. Dori, have you? I think this is the first time she's being mentioned. We've never spoken about Rihanna on the show.
Why would we?
Well, I found a reason why we would speak about Rihanna. So her song SOS, right? Actually contains the most fantastic 80s Easter eggs that were only revealed recently.
Okay.
Think now in your mind's eye, Madonna's Rihanna song, SOS. Stupid.
I don't even know it.
Again.
I mean, I do know it, but I can't think of it.
Okay, it's kind of Rihanna-ish. You know Rihanna's song. It's
Yeah.
her biggest hit.
Is it?
Umbrella.
I think Umbrella's the biggest hit.
Okay, well, it's like that, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you could have the debate. Which is the
That
bigger?
DJ song, maybe?
Hey, Mr. DJ, Ponder Replay.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
How did I know that? I don't even know. I don't know where I pulled that out of.
Yeah, out of your brain.
Out of my brain. I think it's pon. I like the word pon. It's quite funny. So she, okay, so now we're going. Ponder Replay. Someone who didn't know anything about Rihanna, you know enough to challenge me, but anyway. Ponder Replay, Umbrella, but the song SOS. Big hit.
Right.
The writer of that song hid a whole bunch of 80s Easter eggs within the song.
Within the lyrics?
Within the lyrics. In the second verse, the writer of the song said, I had no idea what I was doing. The whole second verse of that song is 80 song titles strung together as sentences because I thought it would be super clever. The songs he included.
Yeah.
Take on Me, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight, I Melt With You, Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears, You Keep Me Hanging On by Kim Wilde, and The Way You Make Me Feel by Michael Jackson. I'm going to play it for Dori so she knows what I'm talking about. Then we're going to cut it out the show.
Okay.
Just so Dori can comment. But for you can go to that 80 Show essay on Facebook and hear him talk about it. We'll try to recap it. So now we're back.
Wow.
Clever, right?
It is actually.
Quite clever the way he did it.
But who picked that up? Did anyone pick it up?
No one's ever picked it up.
Right.
He's just now, he was.
did Rihanna pick it up? She would have been too young.
She's also a billionaire. What does she give a shit? And to this day, no one ever picked it up, and he just said no. And you know what? He's probably been sitting for years. I put all these little Easter eggs in. People are gonna love it. And that song's quite like oldish now. People are gonna, fuck it. I gotta tell people how clever I was.
Yeah, nobody figured it out. Now I've got to tell you.
Also, listening to that song, it's got a little bit of don't. Oh, what was the song now? It was using
Tainted Love?
Tainted Love. Hey, it's got a bit of a tainted love in it.
It does.
Right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the writer of the song being very clever. And you know what? Out of him being a shameless self-promoter, I'm not even going to mention his name. You can go Google it. He doesn't need me mentioning his name. He makes so much money off royalties.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the National Toy Hall of Fame?
No.
No, you wouldn't have.
Nope.
I heard about it this week because 3 toys from the 1980s have just been inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame.
Is this like a physical thing or like a...
It's in a proper museum. So it's a proper museum. It's in a museum in New York, and this is like kind of like...
physical building.
It's a physical building, and they share the physical toys in there. So the toys that got inducted in are this year, Transformers.
Okay.
My Little Pony.
Okay.
Right? You still haven't watched the series The Toys That Made Us.
No.
Okay, both of these have their own episode on it. The stories behind these toys are fantastic. Transformers is obviously a show made out of, it was ripped off from a Japanese program, but it was all to sell toys. There's so many TV shows then were. And it worked because now they're in a museum. And My Little Pony, it's just cute. It's cute. People like it.
I think My Little Pony is valid.
Yeah.
It's valid.
Do you still get bronies?
I don't know.
Because there was a thing where there were guys who liked My Little Pony. It was like a week or so. And then a game that I've never heard of called Phase 10.
No, don't know it.
So Phase 10, also never heard. I had to go look for it. It's based on a variant of Rummy. Okay, you get a special deck equivalent to 2 regular decks of cards. You play 2 to 6 people. The game is named after 10 phases or melds that a player must advance through in order to win. Many people shorten the game by aligning it to baseball rules and consider 5.5 phases to be complete game when running out of time to complete the full phases. Whoever is in the lead when play stops is someone who completed 5.5 phases.
You lost me.
The object of the game
complicated.
is the first person to complete all 10 phases.
But you don't do all 10 phases.
Of what?
Of what?
So there's cards numbered.
Is it normal cards?
They numbered 1 to 12, look Uno-ish,
Okay.
and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So each card is a number, and then you do something like that.
How is this in the Hall of Fame? I've literally never heard of it. I've never heard anyone speak of it. It's never been referred to in any movie or TV show we ever watched. How is this a thing?
So Dori, because I'm trying to get you to, I'm trying to keep you within the show. You know, I did research.
Oh my God.
What other toys are in the National Toy of Fame, the National Museum Hall of Fame?
Yes, Hall of Fame.
That museum.
Yes.
It's actually based in the National Museum of Play, the Toy Museum Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So let me give you some other inductees. So obviously My Little Pony's in there. Nerf toys are in there.
Okay.
Okay. Light Bright, which is another video game. Risk, the game Risk.
Heard of that?
Sand is in there.
Sand?
Sand. Sand may be the most universal toy in the world. From your geologist's perspective.
Kids eat sand and then they get worms.
So Sand
Right.
is inducted in there. Masters of the Universe.
Well, okay.
Cabbage Patch Kids, of course, you can expect. Atari, American Girl dolls. Blanket. Not Michael Jackson's son, Blanket. Children have played with blankets ever since ancient agrarians domesticated woolly animals and spun their coats for fabrics. Okay?
Is there going to be like a cardboard box in there? Because I'm sure kids have played with cardboard boxes.
Ball is in there. Just ball.
Not balls.
No. Ball, rolling, throwing, kicking, catching, bouncing, and batting. The ball is old as civilization itself. Star Wars toys are in there. The Game Boy is in there. Scrabble is in there. But no one defeats ball, blanket, and sand. So that's the Toy Hall of Fame. Dori, no fucking shit. Cardboard box is in there.
I knew it.
The Chinese invented cardboard in the 1600s. The English played off that invention and created the first commercial cardboard box in 1817. So they obviously used corrugated board, which served as a lining for men's hats, but then children started using it, obviously, to do stuff because children are imaginative. So, I mean, I started off this thinking, wow, great. The Toy Hall of Fame, toys are in there.
Accolade.
What a great thing to be next to sand. So you only have to be as interesting as sand.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't gone through the whole list, but is snot in there?
I'm sure it is.
Kids love playing with snot. You know what's not in there? Stickers, trading cards are in there.
Yeah.
Dino-Riders are not in there. So who won, Nico? Who won at the end of the day? This guy. Not hurt by that at all. And not carrying it with me. I'm going to do something over the next couple of weeks. An article about the 60 80s movies you have to watch before you die.
Excellent.
I'm going to go through 60 to 50.
Okay.
And we'll do them every week.
And have we done all of them on the show?
Dori, this is not a bad checklist. Number 60, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh.
Okay. 59, The Terminator.
Has one of us done that?
I'm pretty sure. Either we haven't done it or it's like, come on. We got to tell you about The Terminator, like, you got a problem.
Hey.
Dori, you may have done this. Number 58, Steel Magnolias.
I did. I remember it.
Not my sort of movie that I'd watch. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 57. 56, Stand and Deliver.
What a great movie.
That we've never done.
I don't think we have.
We've never done Stand and Deliver.
Oh, my God.
Edward James Olmos.
Yeah.
Number 55, She's Gotta Have It.
Huh?
Yeah. It was
Remind me?
Spike Lee did it.
Oh.
Yeah. I did it. I did She's Gotta Have It. Mm-hmm. Purple Rain at number 54.
Definitely been discussed in one way or another.
Dori, a movie called number 53, Parting Glances.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I think you did do this, didn't you?
No, but I'm going to do it next week. It's my next week movie.
Really?
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, wow.
The only reason it's not this week's movie is because I didn't finish it.
Busy listening to other podcasts.
I'm busy listening to other podcasts.
Number 52, National Lampoon's Vacation.
Okay.
51, Labyrinth. And number 50 of 80s movies you have to watch before you die. Hairspray.
Huh.
I never thought of that as an 80s movie. Weird.
No.
Anyway, so Dori, that's a teaser called Parting Glances.
Let me just tell you, this movie, I'm going to tell you, is on Plex.
This explains it all.
How is it in this list?
It looks like it's black and white.
It's not black and white.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, I've started it.
Oh, it looks heavy. Oh, okay.
We'll discuss next week.
Okay, so
Next week's movie.
We'll continue this
Spoiler
list.
alert.
Continue this list. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we would discover something so new?
Now that you know, I think you should watch it too.
Oh, Dori, it looks heavy.
I'm going to send you time codes. The
All
scenes
right.
you have to see.
Okay. Will it be
Let me put it this way. I was laughing. I was laughing.
so bad it's good?
Not supposed to be laughing.
So bad it's good. This has been that 80s show. Dori, what's the favorite thing you learned on the show today?
So much. Probably the Flash Gordon thing. actually.
I was amazed by the George Michael having a fling with Madonna's brother.
No,
thing.
that was something.
Yeah.
There was a lot on this show. My goodness. A smorgasbord.
Nice use of smorgasbords. People don't say it enough. Everything we spoke about on this show today, and we spoke about a lot, can be found on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. If you want to find other 80s podcasts, do it on your own time. This is That 80 Show Time, the only award-winning 80 Show podcast that you should be listening to. I hope you join me again next week, Dori. Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.